Hello and welcome to Mad Owl Goes Racing, and today we're in Assetto Corsa and we're taking a look at the Racing Studio Protech P91 Hybrid Evo. Now this is basically the Porsche 919 Evo. The car is very nicely modelled and we will start off by having a look at it in the showroom. I've left the door open so you can look inside. Right, now, as I said, very nicely modelled. Inside and out, I must add. Now the car is based on the Porsche 919. Now Porsche decided to join the World Endurance Championship and take part in Le Mans using an LMP1 hybrid car. It was first presented in 2014 to the general public, and there were iterations and improvements for 2015, 16 and 17. The car initially in 2014 was, I think it was third in the Constructors' Championship, possibly fifth in the Drivers', something like that. And 2015, 16 and 17, I believe they won both championships, drivers and constructors, in all 3 years. The car did have various updates. It started off in the first year, I think it was a 6 megajoule class, and moved up to the 8 megajoule class. Now, the LMP1 hybrids were a little bit of a convoluted, shall we say, set of rules. Basically, you could have a certain amount of fuel use, and then you'd have a certain amount of energy recovery and use per lap, and it was all a bit complicated, but at the end of the day you were fairly restricted on what you could and couldn't do. So for example, the car has a 2 litre V4 with turbos, and it produces about 500 horsepower in its final form in 2017, if I remember rightly. Now, 500 horsepower is quite a bit, but because they have a restriction on fuel flow rates, that's all it could make, because obviously there has to be a certain sort of look into the efficiency of the engine, and if you've only got so much fuel to burn, you can only get so much power out of it. So the idea for Porsche was to get their engineers to take a look at the car as it stood in 2017 and see what they could do if they didn't have the same restrictions. Now, obviously, there were other changes along the way between the 2014 and 2017 model. 2017, they actually changed the aero quite a bit, especially at the front. It's much more rounded on the front of the front wheels. The 2014 through 16 version is very sort of square looking like the front. And you can actually drive the 2016 and 2015 versions in AC if you've got whichever DLC they were part of. I can't remember, and I should have looked it up before I started talking. And I've done some laps in the 2016 version, tinkered with the hybrids a little bit, but not much, but otherwise it's been in stock. And I did a 1 minute 43.5, I think it was. So basically what I thought the best way to actually look into this is to say how much of extra did they get out of the car from the changes they made. Now, as I said, there's certain restrictions on the LMP1 class. One of the first things they did was they took out the fuel flow restrictions, and the engine went from about 500 horsepower to around about 720. So, getting on for 50% more power, it's probably about 45%. Quick maths, yeah, can't be asked. Yeah, so 720 odd horsepower. A fairly big increase. That alone could probably get close to the sort of performance you'd have had as it was. They also made some changes to the recovery system. They can now recover more energy, I believe, and deploy more as well. I think they increased the electric motors from about 400 horsepower up to 440. So in total it went from about 900 horsepower, which was 500 from the engine, 400 from the electric motors, up to 1160, I think it is, total. Or thereabouts. So it's definitely got a lot more growth. It also has extra aero on the front and DRS on the back, so not only should it be much better accelerating, it should also have much better top speed down to reduce drag and go around corners faster. So all in all, it should be a bit of a missile compared with the original. So what I'm going to do is a few laps. So the first lap, I think what it will do is just use no deployment of the electric stuff, no DRS, and see what sort of lap time I did. As I said, I did a 43.5 with, I think it was on hot lap mode. Yeah, hot lap mode on the 919. So we'll see what we do without any extra bits and pieces. This will just be the engine, so I'll turn that to no deploy. So we won't be using the electrics at all, and apart from having slightly cold tyres probably, we'll see what sort of lap time we do, and then I will try it with a bit of DRS maybe and see how much difference it makes, and then we'll try the full fat everything and see what that does. It's got very oddly spaced gears, I have to say. If I can get the corners right, that'll help. And try not to clip the curves too hard, because it don't like it. It's not the nicest sounding engine in the world, but then V4s don't tend to sound particularly nice. If you've ever driven around in the V4 transit van, not the nicest sounding engine in the world. This is about the only other thing I think. It's got a 2 litre V4 in it. Now I presume the time at the top there is comparison to my fastest lap, hopefully. Probably a little bit early going down now. Like I said, it's got a slightly oddly spaced gearbox, which is takes a bit of getting used to. I did actually try playing with the gears and went to sort of what I would call a much more conventionally spaced gearbox. Didn't see it made a lot of difference to the performance actually. One thing I should say is, whatever you've got the automatically set thing going to, you can always override it by pressing the curves button. I'll put so 39.5, which is faster than it went with the 919. Oh, might have been a bit late on it. Yeah. Now, one thing about the DRS is you can get it on ridiculously early. It's because it's got so much down grip. You can open the DRS before you even think about it usually. So yes, like I said, because there's no rules as far as DRS is concerned, you can open it just about where you like. Let's try and get it right around here. Slight lift, nothing more, and kept the DRS open, and it's still connected to the ground. This is where I might screw up. Possibly they've done with one less gear through there, I don't know. I'm trying to be really clever and flick up to the shit wrong way. I meant to go to very high deployment, not very low. A little bit of understeer there, quite difficult to get out of the corner. I'll give it an extra squeeze of, and I tap the brake without thinking about it. And this time we're going to hit the go faster button at the same time, so we're pulling curves. Hopefully recovered a bit of energy so we can reuse a bit more coming out of the last couple of corners. So, yes, 43.5 in the 919, 31.4. So 12 seconds faster with the extra power, the extra grip and the improved aero. So an impressive car, I have to say. How does that compare with other things? That's about the same sort of lap time as I was doing in some of the hybrid Formula 1 cars. I think the fastest I went was about 28, 29, something. So a couple of seconds off the sort of fastest hybrid F1 car that I've managed to get around here. So pretty damn quick. And that probably wasn't even as good a lap as I could have done. So I'd say it is one impressive car. Is it the ultimate race car is the real question, because that's what they present it as. This is where I have a bit of a problem with this car, is what are you going to race it against? Because to me, a race car has to be within a class. It has to be running within a set of regulations. And the specific thing about this particular car is it's been taken out of a class and it's been taken out of the regulations. So the only other thing you could race it against is another one of the same. And I don't know how well that would work, frankly. Like I said, it's very quick. The big issue with hybrids is always trying to keep some hybrid energy at some point. So you might end up having to go between sort of either work out what works over a lap and keeps you topped up enough that you don't actually end up running out of oomph, or you have to potentially just go manual on it, so you turn the deployment off completely and just press your curse button all the time that you want it. But yeah, one very quick car, beautifully modelled, I have to say, as always with Racing Studio. Sounds okay. I say it sounds okay because the V4 is not the most pleasant sounding engine. It's not like a nice screaming V8 or anything like that, so, or even a straight six. But yeah, it sounds nice. You can hear when you're getting brake recovery and things like that. So it's got that sort of, I was going to say it's like a squeal combined with a hum, but neither of them sounds particularly pleasant. Whereas it's not an unpleasant sound, but it's quite interesting. Reasonably cheap. I think it's £4, something usual sort of price for a Racing Studio car. But yeah, it's an interesting car. It's an interesting car to drive just to see how bloody fast you can get around a track, which is basically what they've done with it since it's been built. They went to various circuits and set fast laps, ridiculously fast laps, around Spa, obviously around the Northcliffe, and that wasn't even an attacking lap. They did a 5:20, something like 5:20, and that was a demonstration cruising lap, really. So, and I think Mike 604 was able to get under 5 minutes in it, and I did a lap without even trying to do anything, and I kept forgetting to hit DRS and everything. Just the first couple of times I tried it, I just did 2 laps around Northcliffe and did a 5:17, and that was without trying any deployment at all, and that was just in whatever state it's in straight out of the box. So yeah, it's got lots and lots of potential for going very, very fast. So probably the ideal thing to wave your EP in at people with, but as a race car, not so sure. I don't think I'd like to try and race it. For a start, it's too much hard work thinking about shit. I'd prefer to just put my foot on the throttle or not put my foot on the throttle. All this flicking buttons, no, too old for that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, give it a shot. Like I said, it's not ridiculously expensive. If you want just some fun for doing time attacks or that sort of thing, it's quite a fun car. It does feel really nice. The FFP is nice, and it's generally a good driving car. So yes, worth a look. But I will say this: it certainly feels a lot better than the 919 does in whichever DLC it was in. It's got a lot more feel to it, so it's a lot more pleasant to drive than the car it's based on, shall we say. So I'll leave it at that. So for me for now, enjoy your racing, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Where's my button? There it is.